So first of all, thank you. You called me a guest of honor, but I feel honored to be here with you all because you all have obviously been in the trenches for quite some time, and it sounds like you are the experts. So I want to just say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this space with you. Um, I know I've met some of you actually in other spaces, and so you've probably heard me say that number one, I'm honored to just have this opportunity. I feel like I've come full circle, if you will. My background as has been shared. I've done a lot of things that I feel have led me to this opportunity in this space, everything from being a correctional officer many, many years ago to being an attorney. And what was I was the first attorney in what was the Prisoners Advocate Project, which is which evolved into central booking. And now I've been in so many different areas of the public defender's office, everything from appellate, doing some work in appellate to I started as an actual law clerk in the collateral review unit, which was in the very same space where the Office of the Correctional Ombudsman will be housed temporarily. So it's kind of come full circle. And I know everybody has different beliefs, but I feel like this has been divinely ordered for me. And, I've had many conversations about the fact that for me, always, I don't care what anybody's space in life is in terms of how they end up in the spaces they end up. Whether it's, I went on a tour of a facility today and it was a juvenile facility, how individuals end up in the spaces that they are in, they still need to be treated with dignity and humanity. And if the state is going to take on those responsibilities, they need to act accordingly. So as an agency, I'm going to stay true to the legislation. That's the goal of the agency. And my goal as I begin this journey, I've been doing a listening tour. I've been going to and talking to as many people who've been involved in getting this legislative um, agenda accomplished. And because I want to learn and know what's important, and I want to make sure that as the strategic plan is developed, that we are able to achieve that. The juvenile, as you know, the Juvenile Justice Monitoring Unit is also coming under the Office of the Correctional Ombudsman. And as we have discussed, we're going to be a strong and mighty agency so that we have longevity. We're not here for a temporary fix. We're not here for a Band-Aid. We're here for a long-term impact that will serve the state, the families, those incarcerated individuals, those juveniles well, and will make a difference and have real impact. So that's the goal. And it's not going to be something that is an overnight fix. It's going to take a strong strategic plan and a step-by-step agenda. And so that's where I'm working. I'm also working to establish the board that is also prescribed in the legislation. So we're working on that now. There's a report that's due on December 31st that I hope to have completed before December 31st. But that's where we are. There's more to come. And I want to work with those of you who are doing this work, who have been doing this work, to make this a success. So, like I said, I didn't have a speech prepared. I'm just honored to be in your space and to have the opportunity. I've been going from facility to facility. Today was my first opportunity to visit a juvenile facility. Learned a lot from the individual who's already been doing this work in that area. And it's been good to observe. It's been good to take notes. And I'm going to continue to do that as we develop a strategic plan for moving forward. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Hopefully I have answers, but if not, like I said, I operate in transparency. And if I don't have one, I'm certain answer. I have no problem telling you that, and then I'll work to gain those answers for you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your being here, and thank you so much for those comments. So I do have one question that probably is on a lot of people's mind, and that is, I know that the first year, the statute says that you're limited to focusing on the Jessup region and the
That's
institutions in
correct.
Jessup.
That's
If someone wants to contact your office, number one, how can they contact you? And number two, if there are issues that need to be identified that relate to other institutions, what's your recommendation in terms of how folks should proceed?
So let me put this in the chat. I did recently have an email address established for contacting the Ombudsman office, and you can share this email address. I will tell you that staff has not been hired as of yet, but in the process of trying to do that now. But that will be the contact email address for the Office of the Correctional Ombudsman. That's number one. Number two, and there's some other things that have to be worked through as well, because what we don't want to occur is we want there to be some level of we want there to be confidentiality and anonymity associated with individuals and any correctional institution that reaches out. We don't want there to be any form of retaliation for that individual, or someone being aware that they have contacted our office if possible. And so there's some things that have to be worked out in reference to the confidentiality piece. And so I'm trying to work through those dynamics right now. So as we, work through that, then I'll have better answers around that. But that is the contact and email address, because we don't want them flooding not personal, our state issued email addresses. So I ask that one be established specifically for the office. So that's the one you can use. As to the question relating to other facilities, you are correct. The focus for the first year is the institutions within the Jessup area. That will be the focus, because right now it's just me. Even as I begin to onboard staff, given the limited number of staff individuals that will be onboarded initially, it will be very challenging. What is that? OCO contact. Your contact. I'll answer that question in a moment. Sorry. Then it's not that I don't want the information to come to us, but hopefully I'll be able to direct them to the appropriate contact within the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. That will be what I will, how I will most likely respond, because the focus will be the Jessup facilities. And then I'm trying to read the, oh, okay. I don't understand. OCO contact@maryland.gov. That's correct.
Oh, where you put a period after the contact.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting that. I was typing and trying to talk at the same time, doing too much. That's correct. It is not a dot after contact.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there are I don't see any questions in chat. A lot of thank yous. Folks are glad that you have taken the time to be with us this evening.
There's one question in the chat,
okay,
which is someone is saying that Major has already received letters from incarcerated people who may not have access to the email. So if they wanted to send a letter to you, can you say what the mailing address would be or how they otherwise would contact you?
Sure, I'll put the address in the chat too. The other thing I will add this to, we are also trying to figure out if there is a way to have incarcerated individuals utilize the tablets. We have not quite worked through that. Again, that's something that we're trying to work through. I've had multiple discussions on that. So if that changes, I'll be certain to let you all know. My chief concern is the confidentiality piece. And so I do have another idea. I don't want to share it until I know that I can facilitate what I'm thinking. I actually have two. And I just want to make sure that either one of them or both will be able to occur before I share it with anyone. But if they are able to pan out, then I will make sure your organization knows immediately.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat, and I don't know if we're going to have time to answer all right now.
So let's just do two more questions, if that's okay, Daryl.
Yeah,
okay.
And the post box address would be great. That's part of one of the ideas that I have, but I haven't been able to. Like I said, until I know for certain what I'll be able to work through there, I can't share. But I do have a thought there that I'm trying to facilitate. But so once I know for certain, I will let you know.
Here's another question from John. What standards besides COMAR will you use to assess reported problems?
Well, so we have PAIR, we have COMAR, we have the laws of not only the state, but all the laws related to the criminal laws. I mean, anything. So the power that the Ombudsman Office has been given, subpoena power, we have our authority is a little bit more than like, I'm going to use the Juvenile Justice Monitoring Unit because that's the closest analogy that I can use to draw. We will have a little bit more authority than what they had individually because of the legislation. So we'll have the power to subpoena, for example. It's all outlined in the legislation. And we will utilize it if it's necessary. I mean, our goal is hopefully that, listen, I don't want to, my goal is not to, how do I say this? My goal is if I can work collaboratively to bring about change, I'm going to do that. You can kill more bees with honey sometimes, right? But at the end of the day, I'm going to do my job. I'm there to do a job and it's going to be done. Because again, I go back to just because someone is incarcerated does not mean that they do not deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Or just because someone works, because it also applies to the staff, just because someone works in a facility doesn't mean that they do not deserve to work in a place where they can feel safe and secure. And that also applies to individuals who are living in the facilities. The same applies. And so, oh, I'm sorry, I'm typing, and again, you can see the error in my typing Baltimore, Maryland, but it's Baltimore, Maryland 21202. I'm sorry. But I'll give you an example. I was at a facility this past week, and I had received some information relating to an individual. And I was there because I'm just touring facilities, okay? And but I had been given some information relating to a particular individual. And not there to investigate that situation, but because of the nature of the information I received, I just could not ignore what I had received in terms of information. So I asked to see the individual while I was there. They were very accommodating. No one said no, because they're not supposed to. And then I asked for privacy. When I spoke to the individual, I received that privacy. Spoke to the individual, came out, we went on about the tour. And then in our debrief, it wasn't the first thing I brought up, but when I brought it up, the staff was very receptive to the conversation. They immediately responded and actually had individuals leave the meeting to go address my concerns. So for me, like, if you're, that's a positive change, because you're going to address the issue that I brought to your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something also that will become a report for me, because you're addressing it, you're demonstrating that you're addressing it, and I will pop back up to see if you addressed it. And so that's not, if we can work collaboratively in situations like that, then to me, that's a positive outcome. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a confrontational situation. And so that's my hope, that we can work more collaboratively together to accomplish a more outcome that's more advantageous to all of us. That is my hope. And there are going to be times that doesn't occur. And when it happens, it will happen, and I will stay true to my employment requirements.
Yeah.